Welcome to Welcome at Jesus Bible Study. We're going to be in the book of John, chapter 15, verse 7. And this is Jesus speaking. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ye shall ask what you will, and it shall be done unto you. I'm going to repeat that. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ye shall ask what you will, and it shall be done unto you. This verse is not a verse of Jesus promising that he will give us whatever we ask for. Jesus is not a magic genie in a bottle that we rub to have our wishes granted. As a matter of fact, throughout the scriptures, God clearly tells us that if it doesn't go towards his will, it will not be so. We also see many times throughout the scriptures that God allows certain people to be blessed, and he gives them what they ask for, and he lets them alone. He hated Ishmael, but he allowed Ishmael to have many things. Cain killed Abel, yet he was the first person to go off and establish a kingdom. He simply just let them be. So there are many people who come to God and all they seek is things for themselves, and all they do is think about themselves, and he allows their prayers to be answered. He just simply gives them what they ask for because he knows that is it. It doesn't go no further than that. That they will no longer grow in their relationship with him. That they would never come any more closer on their journey, on their walk with God. So he allows them to be blessed, to give them what they ask for, and just lets them be. In fact, no, this verse is actually speaking very more deeply than that. See, our ways is not God's ways. Our thoughts are not God's thoughts. But if we abide in him, and abide in his words, if we're in this word every single day, and we're in a constant relationship and being in prayer with God and communication every single day, we come to realize that our thoughts are no longer the same as before. That we start thinking almost as if the way God is thinking, because we are changed in our hearts. Our desires are no longer our desires, but our desires are now what God has for us. Let God's will be done in my life. God, I no longer care what my heart says. I no longer care for this and that, Lord. No, I only want your will to be done. I want what you have in store for me. It's no longer about what we want. We want what God wants. So of course it will be granted. It will be done unto you because it will be God's will and not our own. And this is what this verse is speaking. A lot of people like to use this verse and certain other verses like that, like God, where God says, I want you to have an abundance life, where they twist it to this so-called prosperity gospel. And they're not paying attention to what God is actually saying. Sure, if you just read it just really quickly, it says, if you ask, and I will give you want. Ask, and you shall receive. But what does it say before that? They're so focused on the gimme, gimme, gimme part, the very last part, that they're just, all they can just pay attention to is, if you ask, and you shall get what you ask for. But what about what he said before that? If you abide in me, and my words abide in you. That's the most important part. That is the key. And a lot of these prosperity gospel preachers and teachers, when they take these verses like this, they're missing the key. They're missing the first things first. They're only hearing what they want to hear. All they're paying attention to is the things they have to do with themselves. We got to remember, it's not about us. This is all about God. It's always been about God. It's never been about us. It's about his love for us, but it's not about us. This is God's story. It is about him, not us. In fact, he tells us to put his focus on what? Building up his kingdom. And this is where a lot of people get lost when God starts blessing them and starts giving them a platform. And in order to share his word and to preach his gospel, they get lost in themselves. They get lost. They get sidetracked. Where God has given him his platform for them to share on his platform, they turn into their platform instead of God's. They start, instead of building God's kingdom, they turn from God's kingdom and start building up their own kingdom. They get lost in themselves because they're no longer seeing what God is speaking to them about his will. They start seeing themselves in everything. When you start seeing yourself in everything, you're removing God from everything. It is never good to remove God from anything. God used to be in everything, used to be in our school systems, used to be in our government, and slowly throughout the years, Satan has drove him out. And look at what happened now. We don't have God in schools, but the devil's entering in the schools. God have mercy on us. God have mercy on these kids, on these school systems. God is being removed from our government, and look, this world's about to go lawlessness. If there was ever a perfect example of a government without God, Joe Biden is one. And I'm not one to sit here and talk politics or nothing like that. I'm not picking sides. I'm just stating facts. And that is facts. He isn't no for the people at all. He has no heart for anything except for himself. And it's showing. It is showing. There is no love for nobody but himself. The dude doesn't even look like he even cares about his own kids in reality. If you can't care about your own kids, then why would you care about somebody else? You're not. That's just facts speaking to you. This country is in for a world of hurt. And it has been ever since he's been in the league. Saying, I can go on and on about the politics, but I'm not going to. I'm just using this as an example. But look at where God has been removed. And where the evil one has been put into place. And just what happened. The same thing comes true into your life. The moment you start seeing everything that has to do with you, the moment you start focusing on your feelings. It says to us in the Bible, clear as day, to deny yourself, to kill your flesh. You are to die each and every day. See, we all think that it's just the one time that we make this choice to come to Christ. But you know what? We have the freedom. God gives us the freedom to choose. And each and every day, we got to wake up and make that choice. Do I serve my God or do I serve myself? It's not the one time. You just don't go, okay, I've accepted Christ and I'm good. No, that's an every single day choice. This is a battle. It's a battle. Every day you're in a battle till this war has ended. And every day you have to make a choice of whose side, what army are you serving. So you could start out very well in the Lord's army and end up in Satan's. You can very well start out in Satan's army and end up in the Lord's army. Because every day is a choice. People think that once you choose and once you accept God that you are saved. They're even using the verse that he says where there is 144,000 sealed. Saying that once saved, always saved because he said it's sealed. No, no, no. That's not what that verse means. That's not what that verse says. He's speaking about something completely different. And he's speaking about a total of 144,000. 100,000, whatever. I don't have the number. You know what I meant. Those specific people, no more and no less, are sealed for a certain specific thing. That is not speaking about every person who has ever been saved and will always be saved, and it is sealed. You are twisting God's words. You are taking his words out of context, and that is not applied to you. That applies to what he was speaking about, who he had chosen to be sealed that cannot be touched. That has nothing to do with every Christian who decides to come to God. First of all, the number count don't make sense and the math don't add up. That already you could tell right there is nonsense. This is what happens when you decided to take something and use it and twist it to make your truth be truth. But the fact that it is you're not truthful. God is. His word is true. You can twist and take things out all you want to, but it's not going to stand from God's truth. It just makes you a liar, not God a liar. Every day is a choice. It says to pick up your cross every day. If every day wasn't a choice, then God wouldn't say so. And he's telling you every day, pick up your cross every day. That means choose him every day. You have the choice. Your decision is yours. You choose to either serve God or serve yourself. People can say, oh, you choose to serve the world. Well, yourself is the world. Self-idolatry is still idolatry. It's still replacing God with yourself. And the moment you start replacing everything and making you got to look at it. You got to see it from God's point of view. You got to see it through God's eyes in any and everything that you do. But we don't. A lot of Christians and Christ followers are making the same mistake, because we see everything through our eyes as if it's ourself. We read this Bible and we put ourselves into the stories and make it relatable to us. But it's not about us. It's about God. And the moment you start removing God out of yourself and out of everything and making it all about you, is the moment you start building up your kingdom and not God's. So we've got to be very careful. We've got to remember it's not about us. We are to deny ourselves. We are to kill our flesh even single day. It's our choice. So are you waking up every day, and are you choosing to serve God, or are you choosing to serve yourself? A lot of people are having a hard time trying to make it through these daily battles. But that's because they're putting too much of themselves into everything. They need to remove themselves out of everything and stop putting God into everything. Replace yourself with God. Because it is not about you against people. It is about God.